Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, here's a wild thought. What if two super common heart medications held the key to reversing a liver disease that affects nearly 40% of adults around the globe? Today, we're going to dive into some brand new, groundbreaking research that suggests exactly that.
So, to really get why this is such a big deal, we first need to ask a question. What do you think is the single most common chronic liver disease people are dealing with worldwide? The answer might surprise you.
And the answer is a condition you might have known by its old name, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. It's recently been renamed to Metabolic dysfunction-associated steatotic liver disease, or MASLD for short. Basically, all it means is that an excess of fat is building up inside the liver's cells.
And what is truly staggering is just how widespread this condition has become. The latest data shows that MASLD affects 38% of adults worldwide. That's nearly 4 out of every 10 people. And believe me, those numbers are on the rise.
You know, a big reason this is so common is that it's often a silent disease. It can have very few, if any, symptoms in the early stages. But what happens when you just let it go, when it progresses unchecked?
Well, it can get pretty serious. This fat buildup can lead to severe liver scarring. That's called cirrhosis. And it also significantly boosts the risk of liver cancer. And the real kicker? Because it's so silent, it often isn't diagnosed until it's already advanced. And we just don't have many effective drugs for those early stages.
So we've got this silent but really serious liver disease. But the story doesn't stop there. It turns out there's this incredibly strong connection between the liver and the heart. And understanding this link is the whole key to this potential breakthrough.
Yeah, MASLD and heart disease are deeply connected. Why? Because they're often fueled by the exact same things. Things like unhealthy diets, problems with insulin resistance, and chronic inflammation. This means if you have one of these conditions, you're automatically at a much higher risk for the other. They're like two sides of the same coin.
All right, let's get into it, because this is where the research gets really, really clever. What if a potential treatment for this massive liver problem was hiding in plain sight? Already sitting in our medicine cabinets, being used for something completely different? So a new study looked at two incredibly common drugs that are usually prescribed for heart health. First up is Pemafibrate, which is used to lower fats or lipids in the blood. And the second one is Telmisartan, a really widely used medication for controlling high blood pressure.
Now here's the brilliant part. The researchers' strategy wasn't just to test one drug or the other. No, they wanted to see what would happen if they were combined.
And you can see their thinking right here, straight from one of the study's authors, Marta Allegret. The whole idea was that these two drugs work in different but complementary ways. They thought that together they could create a kind of 1-2 punch against that fat buildup in the liver. So here's how that 1-2 punch actually works. Pemafibrate, that first drug, basically revs up the process of burning the fat that's already there. At the exact same time, Telmisartan works to slow down the liver's production of new fat. It's like turning up the furnace while you're slowing down the factory.
And the results from their study in rats? They were pretty incredible. I mean, look at this. Each drug on its own, at a full dose, was highly effective at reducing liver fat. But here's the kicker. When they combined the drugs, each at only half a dose, the effect was just as powerful. Think about that. It could mean getting the same benefit, but with a potentially lower risk of side effects.
Okay, so these results are incredibly promising, right? But it's really important we balance that excitement with a dose of reality. So, what's next? Where do we go from here? Well, experts are highlighting a huge advantage of this kind of approach, which is called drug repurposing. Because these drugs have already gone through years and years of tough safety testing, using them for something new could be a much faster and way more cost-effective path to a treatment than trying to develop a brand new drug from scratch. But, and this is a really big but, the study's own author is quick to say, hold on a second. These amazing results were in animal models, specifically rats and zebrafish. Before anyone can even think about recommending this for people, it is absolutely essential to do rigorous clinical trials in humans to prove that it's both safe and effective for treating MASLD. And that really leaves us with a final, powerful question. Could looking at the drugs we already have, but with fresh eyes, be one of the best ways to unlock treatments for the widespread diseases we're all facing today? This study sure suggests that the answer might just be hiding in plain sight.